This is our the exciting part of our day. Every day is like, are we live? Are we live? Are we getting live? So hey, Paul Ramsey, here you are.
Good afternoon.
So we're just having fun, getting live, getting doing this daily, and finding out that, like, having some consistency and routine in our daily life. Oh, it's me. I am. We are live. Yay, sweet Jesus. Sweet Moses, we're alive. So here's Paul, and Paul is taking a break from his daily, setting up his summit this weekend, which is fantastic. And I'm taking a break from setting up my funnels and reaching out and outreach and all that stuff to talk to you. So what you guys need to do is hop on in right now, just like you did yesterday, so we all can have a fantastic conversation together, talking about how we are. And I saw Michael. Michael, hop on in. Talk about how we can create products together in this time of need, because yesterday we talked about how important it is to get the economy going, right, and make some money in the middle, on the way. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or anything like that, I would love for you to hop on in and engage with us. And I want to show you, let's see if I can do that. This is what we're going to be talking about today. This is our page. We are here on viralconnectivity.com/live. You can see we want to overcome this crisis together. This is where we are live right now. Let me make sure that we are muted so you can see that we are live right here. And right to the right of the video, you have resources that you can tap into. Right here, you have all our past shows if you want to check them.
Can I just say that I love that little subheading that you put, even if you suck at social media and hate selling. I was like, that's awesome. That's awesome.
It's true, right?
Even if you're lousy.
No, go ahead with
the truth. It's the truth, right? Because that's part of what keeps people from getting into it, is just the discomfort of like, but I'm just not good at it. And you're like, well, how are you going to get better at it if you don't do it?
Exactly, right? So. And so that's what we want to talk to you guys about today, because we realized a lot of people are kind of like, crisis mode, and you don't know what to sell. You need to sell something. You don't know what to do. You don't know, should I develop a product, not develop a product? And today I was just chatting with Amanda, who came in yesterday and was lovely. And she's creating a fantastic resource for people. And her question was, how do I turn that into a community? Right? How do I turn this into a paid revenue source where I can help people, but I can also have a community? And Paul, building a community online is not an easy thing, right?
It haunts my dreams, to be honest with you. It's hard. True. It is hard. It's hard, but look, you know what I always come back to? Anytime I've hypnotist, right? Anytime I catch myself, I taught myself this actually before I was even a hypnotist. This was my instincts. Anytime I catch myself going, it's hard, I always go back to one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, which was A League of Their Own. When, about the women's baseball league.
Right.
And the one, oh gosh, what's her name? Gina.
Yeah.
Like the main character.
Yeah.
And she says to Tom Hanks's character, she goes, it's too hard. Right. And he goes, it's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everybody would do it. And I'm like, that's like my little thing. I come back. I go, yeah, it's supposed to be hard, because if it wasn't hard, everyone else would be doing it. Like, maybe, it doesn't have to be like suffering. That's the delineation, right? Is it can be hard in the challenging sense, but it doesn't have to like literally take your soul or anything.
That's true. So. And what is it? The Buddha is talking about like how the difference between pain and suffering, where pain is real and suffering is in the mind, and you can end.
Have you been hanging out with the Buddha?
Me and him, on speed dial.
Seriously, can you get me on his in his online group or in his community or whatever? That'd be awesome.
I know, right? No, well, he's so elevated. We're communicating telepathically.
Is that right? That's what I'm like. That'll speed my learning curve. That'd be nice.
It's just downloading to my brain, right? Matrix style. So
yeah, you're right though. The old adage is pain is pain. There's a difference between pain and suffering, and pain is like an occurrence, and suffering is your choice to dwell in your pain, to like stay in it. That's really the nature of suffering. So,
which is very important for nowadays, guys, right? Like shit is happening everywhere, but it is your choice whether you look at it with gratitude, right? I have roof over my head. I have internet. I got a picture from the tour guide that we were with in Cuba, and he sent me a picture of Trinidad, and the streets are empty. And I was like, fudge. So he's like, yeah, I'm looking for work. And I'm like, what kind of work can you do when you are stuck at home with no internet? Like, he's a tour guide, right? If there are no tourists, he can't do anything. And I was like, fudge, this entire country is like based on tourism, some agriculture. Like, so what can you do when nobody is allowed into the street? And then I was like, wow, how grateful am I to, and especially after coming back from Cuba and experiencing the lack of internet, how grateful am I for being able to wake up in the morning and say, okay, Google, what's the weather? Right? And now it's going to answer? No, it's not. Okay, good. But like, well, yes, it is. It's 81 and sunny.
So, Yifat, you know what? I have a friend who's a tour guide in the United States, and he's doing a really cool thing. He's like, look, I still want to get out and walk around. I can do that responsibly without being near other people. And so he's going out and he's walking his tour route every day, and he's shooting video of it, and then he's putting it up, and he's basically just like,
how cool.
Like he's like, if you want to enjoy it, enjoy it. If you want to tip, you can tip, but it's not charging, but he's trying to create some way for himself to bring in a little revenue, and he's still bringing value to people, and he's out doing what he loves still, really. He's out sort of staying on his tour guide game,
I love it. And, talking about internet, it says your network bandwidth is low. That's why you became small. There you are. Here you came back.
Listen, that's a cheap shot.
I'm like, as we were talking about
that's why I
here's
became
an example.
Small.
There you go.
That's why you became small. All right. I don't know what I have a hard line connection.
You'll see it when you watch the replay. You'll be like, Paul.
I see it in your little window.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
Window, I see it going down. Yeah, but I'm hard lined in, so it's got to be my actual internet, in my area.
There you go. And we're thinking about like what happens when the internet shuts down, right? Then we're really.
Ixnay on the inks J.
As you say in Hebrew, chamsa, 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 chamsa. So let's talk about how to create these things, right? How do we create a product? How do we create a service? How do we know what to develop? And it's funny because I was telling Amanda, we're talking about communities. How do I create a community? I suggested move to Telegram and create a community in Telegram first, because the hardest thing is to build an audience. That's the hardest thing. Tinkering with the website, making it pretty, making it do whatever you want to do. That's the easy part, and you can fix it on the way. There's always version 2, version 2.1, version 2.5. But getting people to actually freaking download an app, click in, log in every day and say hi, that's the hardest part. And we're talking about moving people off of Facebook, because who the frick knows what's going to happen with Facebook and LinkedIn and all that other stuff. With privacy, people are becoming more aware. People don't want to, all the negativity that's happening in Facebook, people are trying to log in less every day. And so how do I move people off of Facebook? But I want to make sure that I don't do all this work and then nobody shows up. So Telegram is a fantastic, fantastic option for you guys to start building a community over there where you can have conversations. If anyone wants to know anything about Telegram, let me know. I'm happy to do a little show about that. But the other way of finding out exactly what you need to develop and what you want to do is just tap into all the groups that are complementing your skills and see what people need. So Paul is a hypnotist. He can help people with smoking, to stop smoking. So he can go into all the smoking groups, find out everything that people are complaining about, and reach out to each and every one of them and be like, here's a resource, right? And now he builds his email list, and then he can find out what people are complaining about, find out if there's no solution out there or something that he can improve on, and create that product or service. Right, Paul? So let's go to help people stop smoking. I should have brought my cigar.
So one of the things I want to ask you about then is so it sounds like you're saying you're saying market research, right? Like you're like, you have a thing you think you want to provide to people, but you're like, don't just do it.
Right.
Go out and like do some research first and find out if it's really something that people need, right?
Yep. Especially nowadays, right, where people are kind of like are guarding their money a little bit more and not really knowing where it's if it's going to come, where it's going to come from, what's going to happen. What are they really what they really need help with. And yesterday I was on a call with my coach, and he was saying, guys, we also need to get ready for the rebound, right? This is going to end in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks. It's going to end. And what will happen when it ends? A lot of people are going to need like emotional support, to deal with everything that's happening. A lot of people will need like to reskill themselves. A lot of people have been laid off. And they might need to find new skills. They might want to change professions or something like that. They might bounce back. So how do you know where you can fit in this whole rebouncing thing? The best way that I know is to talk to people, right?
Do you think, are we even, I know that this is a discussion that's worth having, but as we're having it, I'm like, from a business standpoint, do you go first? What's your instinct? Do you go first to ways to make more money, or do you go first to ways to have lower your costs?
Right. I was thinking about the same thing too. Because I was like, maybe I need to look at all the services that I have been paying.
Right. It just went, I was like, man,
Yeah.
maybe I could cut a bunch of stuff that I've just gotten used to having subscriptions and service access to. And if I would just go through and go, am I really using this? And I'm not, just shut it off and make my monthly bill go down significantly.
Yeah. I just discontinued my LinkedIn, Sales Navigator. And I was like, yeah, I don't need that. I haven't been using it, been paying and not using it. The one thing I was thinking of canceling or freezing my gym membership, my Krav Maga membership. But then I was talking to one of the guys there and he goes like, yeah, but if you do that, you're hurting a local business. And so my mind was like, okay, can I continue to support them? How much will that hurt my cash flow? And I was like, you know what? If this was not happening, I would be paying it anyway. So, continue supporting them as long as I can continue supporting them because they're hurting as well. They have expenses. The gym is closed, right? I love that family. I love I love everything that they're doing. So support them as much as I can. But if it's a service like Sales Navigator, we have no relationship.
Right. Yeah. And I think there's stuff that like you have a positive association with it and you like it when you use it, but the reality is you don't use it that much.
Yeah.
So if you're not really, there's a point where you have to, I think, go back and do like some sort of assessment and be like, what am I really using that's helping me move the needle on my business? Right. And so I think the same way you flip that around and when you think of product or service development, like there's a million things that I could develop as products or services. That doesn't mean they're actually going to move the needle for my business. Like just because they're a viable option doesn't mean they're the right option for me. So do you have like a process for that? How you figure out what's really the right thing to,
it's interesting.
Forward on?
So from my Google Plus days, right, I was just sharing. And then people came and said, I want to learn. I'll pay you to learn. And I was like, really? Because like, just go through all my posts and you know how to do it on your own. And they're like, no. I want you to hold my hand and I want you to do this with me. And so when people come to you with a credit card in hand and going like, no, I want your time, right? Because there's a difference between information and time, right? You can put a bunch of information. YouTube is filled with it. Everybody can go and learn whatever they want on YouTube already. But when someone says, I want your time and I'm willing to pay for it, now you're like, okay, if there's one person, maybe there are 10. Right? But in order to find out where people are really, really stuck and really hurting, you have to talk to them and they have to know you and they have to know that that you can solve their problem.
So there's two things there that I hear, right? One, the first thing you said that really rung a bell for me is people I think people aren't aware of this. They don't understand the emotionally driven need that's really there is people often think they want a product or a service, but what they want more than that product or a service is a connection to another human being. And so if you offer them the choice of like, you can buy this widget, or you can buy time with me where I'll use this widget with you.
Right.
A lot of times
Right.
they'll take the second option, right? Because we have this thing in our DNA that we want connection and we want to be with people. So that's an interesting thing to think about for entrepreneurs, right? Is instead of just being like, how can I sell you this thing? How can I make a way to sell you me with this thing?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally. And
yeah.
you know,
So that's I'm gonna think of that more.
Yeah, because and if you see a lot of ways that internet marketers are pricing their products, and Florian is here watching us on YouTube, so hi. A lot of people, the way they price the product is, here's the information without my time, right? So that'll be X. Here's the information with limited access to me. That's going to be X plus 2. And here's the information with me, with you, supporting you all the time, holding your hand. That's the X plus 10, right? So if you just want to do it on your own, $20 a month, or $20, whatever. We all know that nobody's going to do shit with it, right? Because it's already existing on YouTube. Like if you really wanted to, and you could do it on your own by yourself, you would have done it already. So then a lot of people go to the second option where it's like, okay, I'll take the group coaching, the weekly check-ins or something like that. And then the top one, that's where the masterminds come in, right? That's where it's one-on-one, small group, you get tons of attention, stuff like that.
Yes. And so here's the second thing I heard you say. And this I was like, in my head, I wanted to like scream, yes. I was like, human beings require way more structured guidance than they think they do.
Yeah.
That's another really important thing for entrepreneurs to keep in mind. Like, no matter how well, I've learned this as I come from a teaching background, no matter how well you think you've built something for people to use or experience it, they will always do better if you heighten that structure even further, which you said, I want you to hold my hand and take me through it, right? Like that's a really, really big thing is people, I guess they basically don't trust themselves, right? Like they're so afraid of screwing it up that they will pay more for you to be right there with them. Or if you can't be right there with them, you need to really clearly communicate that you have a step-by-step process for them to achieve and have what they want.
Yeah. And I wonder if it's like you don't trust yourself, or is it that we don't learn from information alone? We learn by teaching others, by doing it with others. Right? Like the collaboration is what teaches us. It's not just like, otherwise you read a book, you know how to ride a bike, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So, but you have to have a hands-on experience. And the problem with hands-on experience, especially in business, is that you're like, fudge, now people are going to look, I had a conversation today with a lady who said, I've been in the works to go live for 2 years now. And only now I feel like the world needs a leader. My community needs a leader. I need to step up to leadership. But I'm still not comfortable doing it in her own private groups. It's like, because now it's a reflection on me. Am I a leader? Right? Can I lead you? Can I hold your hand? Can I actually do this? Can I deliver? So I wonder if you guys are watching this, how many of you are having those conversations in your head? Like, there's a great opportunity here, but am I up for it? Yeah. Are you up for it, Paul?
I'm like, let's just sit with that for a minute. I will tell you that what's been happening to me lately that's sort of similar to what you just said, so I'm working on this online World Wellness online conference, right?
Yeah.
And I've got over 30 different professionals who have been so kind as to contribute to this event. And they're giving me blog articles and audio files and live webinar presentations and interviews and all this different stuff. And as I'm organizing all of that logistically, I'm seeing how many of these professionals like don't have a YouTube channel. So what we're trying to, like, the last 2 days, a lot of them are like, all right, I did my presentation, it's recorded, how do I get it to you? And I'm like, well, it is your content. So if I was you, I would stick it on your YouTube channel.
Right.
and just send me the link so I can put a link on my site and broadcast it on the site. And then when the project's done and we eventually will take it down, there's no file swapping back and forth. You've got it on your YouTube channel, and then you turn around and repurpose it as a lead generator or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And so many of them are like, oh, I don't have a YouTube channel. And part of me gets that, but part of me wants to go, what do you mean you don't have a YouTube channel? Like you need that. That's important, you know, like, and there's a lot of that. And I had a colleague I've known for years the other day who, you know, my way of trying to give back to them for being part of this is I want their face on the site, and I want their website and their social media handles. And I want to promote them truly so that if people like their content, they can just click and connect with them, you know? And so I'm requesting all of this stuff. And I had this one colleague who's like, I wanted a headshot, just a headshot. And he's like, yeah, I don't have a headshot. And I was like, what do you mean you don't have a headshot? Like, he's like, I'll get you one. I'll get you one. And he said to me when he sent it, he goes, this is really making me realize how much stuff I should have had in place years ago that I don't. And he had a great reframe. He goes, but here's the good news. We're all home now with lots of time. And so like, I'm fired up to do that. And I was like, good for you. You know?
Right. It's amazing. I was talking to one of my teammates and she's like, yeah, I'm writing my book. I wanted to get to writing a book and I'm finally doing it because we're home by ourselves. April 13 is when Austin, you know, I don't know. Are you on lockdown? Like, do you have a date on when you can leave your house?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think we do right now. They've been doing the whole like asking, like, please just stay home. But I didn't check like yesterday what the latest update was, so I'm a little behind.
Yeah, so Austin actually today is the lockdown all the way to April 13. What's that?
Wow.
Yeah, so, but it's funny because it's like you can still go out for like regular services if you need to shop, you know, just stay 6 feet away from each other. Or for exercise, but just stay 6 feet away from each other. I'm like, so it's kind of like normal, you know, just because like but it's really funny. So I was talking to my teammates in Sofia in Poland. They told people not to go out and people didn't care. Mostly the old people, and they are still going to the park and congregating, and 2 people died because they came back from Italy infected, came back and decided, let's have a party because we came back, and they had 20 of their friends.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but the only 2 died, like the 2 who came back from Italy, and the other 20 nobody talks about them. And so I'm telling my friends that are the European, I'm like, well, in the US, you would get fined and you would go to jail if you break the curfew, right? And they're like, of course, because that's the US. Of course, we're going to lock you down. And I'm like, well, maybe that will help your people to stay out of the park.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a whole crazy scene, right? It is. It's a crazy scene. And I still think, again, all of these things offer, if you're willing to sort of think outside the box, they offer opportunities for you to do something, right? Like, so I've been thinking about, I'm like, but I think that the challenges for a lot of business owners is because what you're doing is really probably significantly different than the way you've done it in the past.
Yeah.
You've got to also really think about how do you assess the value that you're bringing now the way that you do it. And you've got to compare and contrast that against the perception of the value in the potential client or customer, right? So like, I was thinking the other day, I was like, you know, I could start just doing like group online smoking cessation or vape cessation, you know, sessions. And I was like, I could bring the price because everyone's worried about price right now. I was like, well, I could go way down on my price compared to what I normally do, but by doing it in groups, not one-on-one, I'm keeping my time for money ratio where I want it to be, right? Instead of doing 10 sessions individually at a lower price, I could do 10 people in one session, hopefully, you know, and have it work out by the hour to be about the same kind of, right? And I was trying to think about stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, but how do you, you know, like, how do you get people to feel like the value is still there? Because again, I think there's this thing that people have where they still people really think in person is better. And then it's another. All right, can I talk? Can I go on a little bit of a rant? All right.
Do it.
So in my industry, one of the things that's driven me crazy over the past year in my profession is there's a consistent argument that when it comes to training hypnotists is much better in person than it could ever be online or from distance.
Yeah.
And as a former teacher, that makes no sense to me. I'm like you don't get people to go into hypnosis by touching them, right? Like it's how you talk to them.
It's not Reiki.
It's how you, right? Yeah. Like, so it's how you talk to them, how you frame language, how you understand their exact situation, and then adapt what you're doing to the person individually. So I'm like, all of that can be taught online. And every experience I've ever had with hypnotism training has been in person. And what I've always found is you go to a 2-day training, a 5-day training. My first training ever was an 8-day training. And it's cool to be in a room with your instructor and be able to get real-time feedback and talk and everything. But the other side of that is, unlike going to college where you're there for years and with one instructor, you have 4 months, a semester, right?
Right.
With these hypnotism trainings, the most I've ever had is 8 days. Well, how spongy can a person be for 8 days? Can you really absorb all this amazing in-person training supposedly that's so valuable? Is that really going to set you up in 8 days to be an awesome No. I'm like, it has nothing to do with your actual learning. Your learning is based on how the instruction itself happens, not whether it happens in person or distance. It's what's the curriculum design? What's the modeling that occurs? What's the explaining that occurs? What are the ways in which the instructor gets you to synthesize your learning?
Right.
So I think about that and I go, this is nuts. Like, but I can't take the time to have that whole ranty thing over and over and over again with every single potential student. And that's what it sort of takes, because it's so culturally held still that in-person training is better than online training.
So, so I love that you say that, because I've been trying to bring people online since the beginning of Hangout. There is a research that says that in-person bonding is the same as video face-to-face chat bonding. People bond over, you and I, we've never met in person, right?
Right.
But look at how lovely our relationship is. But really, right? Like, we've never met, and I, feel like you're a close friend of mine, even though we, never slept each other. Because that's the first thing I'm going to see when I'm going to reach high and be like, hey, Paul, I'm down here.
If you ever meet me in person, the first thing you're going to do is slap me?
No. I'm going to try to reach to the top.
I was like, is that an Israeli thing that I don't know about? What's going on?
Well, when we're offline, I'll show you how we used to say hi in my boarding school.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, it was fun. So, but in person, on video, live video. Hi, Ashley, she's watching us. Come on in, say hi. But in person or on video is the same. And you hypnotized me the first time on a Hangout, right? And you're able to hypnotize people with a text message. So technology is there. And so what's nice about this whole thing is, like, we've been preaching this for years. And now finally the world is like, oh, look at that. I can do a TV show from home. Oh, look at that. I can do a live event from home. I was like, yeah, we've been practicing this and trying to bring the world here. So maybe, the same thing will happen with Telegram. I'm trying to bring everybody off of Facebook into like private secure apps. Something will happen with Facebook. Everybody will all of a sudden be like, ooh, Telegram. Like,
let's talk about that tomorrow. Let's make that the full focus of tomorrow's thing, because I still don't really get it like you do. So let's do that tomorrow, because if I don't get it, certainly there's going to be other people that don't get it as well. And so let's make that the full focus of tomorrow and
fantastic.
And go with the whole Telegram.
Yeah, we are on 30 minutes. We said we're going to do 30 minutes a day. We got shit to do. But guys, hopefully you're living with this. Go into find out what your skill, what you're really, really good at, and what you're passionate about doing, and what you love doing, and what energizes you when you do it. that you do it for free just because you get such a great feeling out of that. And now, after you find that one skill, is like, okay, who has that problem? And then go into those community and validate your idea. Do they really have a problem? Go talk to people, just in comments. And it's super easy because a lot of people are posting, not a lot of people are commenting on those posts. So rather than broadcasting your message or what you can do and all that stuff, go into those communities, find out what it is that people are talking about. If you can help, right? And you'll find that you're having an audience and you're having people reaching out to you, and really starting with one or two will really get you above where everybody else is right now, because that's income coming in that you didn't have if you didn't do this. So before we finish, if you guys need help, if this is kind of like too abstract and you're like, I need something visual and I need to do, I need something. So here's where you can get it. viralconnectivity.com/live. Just click on this image right here. It will take you to an opt-in page. Yes, it is, because I need to be able to follow up with you. And you'll get slides. You can look over my shoulder. You can know exactly the entire process of how to find the audience, how to engage with them, how to sell them. Even if you don't have a product right now, you don't have a course right now, you don't have a coaching, you don't have a website, you don't have anything, you can still make money. This will lead you through that process completely free. All I ask is that if you benefit from it, come back, let me know. It was great. That's all I need. Just to know that it's helping you. Anything else, Paul?
That's it.
That's it. So tomorrow, not this one, Tomorrow we are going to talk about Telegram. If you guys are interested in how to build communities off of Facebook using this app, join us tomorrow, 1 p.m. CST, 2 p.m. EST, right here on this website. Bye, Paul.